Ordered choice voting tiebreakers. There is one other thing we need to discuss related to ordered choice voting, tiebreakers. The vast majority of the time, you should get one candidate beating every other candidate in head-to-head comparisons. If there are n candidates, then the winning candidate should get n-1 victories over opponents. The second-placed candidate should get n-2 victories, and so forth until you get to the last-placed candidate with 0 victories. When this happens, it is extremely clear who the voters in the aggregate prefer. However, it is theoretically possible to get a circular voting topology that results in more than one candidate tying for first place in the number of head-to-head wins. Typically, this will happen between 3 candidates which all lose once. Each loss comes to one of the other 3. This should be extremely rare, as with 2 candidates getting the same number of votes in an election, but we should account for it anyway. The best way to do so is to establish tiebreakers. Let's look at an example of how we can do this. We will take our example of ordered choice voting and flip a few votes to create a 3-way tie at the top. We just need to get Elliot to defeat Dirk without flipping any other elections. We do that by flipping the choice of Elliot and Dirk for person number 1 and then shifting Elliot from below Alice to above Dirk for person number 4. Elliot now beats Dirk and wins one more vote in a head-to-head versus Alice, but still loses to her overall. Here you can now see we have the circular topology with Alice, Dirk, and Elliot each having 3 wins and 1 loss. Dirk loses to Elliot who loses to Alice who loses to Dirk. So, we need tiebreakers. The first would be to get rid of all the candidates who did not tie for the top spot. Then you run an ordered choice election among these candidates to see who wins. This should not produce a winner if you have a truly circular topology for wins. As you can see when we run this ordered choice vote, we get 1 win each. The next tiebreaker will be instant runoff voting. We have a video explaining the process of instant runoff voting titled The Problem with Other Forms of Ranked Choice Voting, RCV, that should be right above this video on the website. When you have narrowed down the number of candidates to 3, those problems with instant runoff voting are not as salient because only 2 candidates can split the vote. This type of vote splitting instant runoff voting handles quite well. With instant runoff voting, we eliminate all the other competitors and look at who gets the least first place votes. Dirk loses round 1 with 1 vote to 2 for both Elliot and Alice. So, we cross him off the list and run a head-to-head race versus Alice. In round 2 Alice wins 3 votes to 2. Therefore, she is elected to office. There could still be a tie on the final round of instant runoff voting. This could happen if Alice got 50% of the votes and Dirk and Elliot each had a sum total of 50% support and none of those people voted for Alice. You could declare a winner based on the candidate with the most votes in a conventional vote between the 3, but that is not ideal as once again the race will be decided based on which faction had 2 candidates in the final round. In fact, in this case, that does not even help as Elliot and Alice tie with 2 votes on that first tally. You could then base it on the first vote with everyone included, in which case Alice would win. That also comes with the same problem as any conventional vote, you are still dividing the ballot. There really are no good solutions, just as there are none in an actual numerical tie in a conventional ballot contest. So, you could either take the flawed number of votes in a straight head-to-head race and if necessary, amongst all candidates, or an equally flawed coin flip as done on standard tie votes. You could even toss the incumbent in such a situation by default or vice versa. Luckily this should not happen very often,